All right, welcome back into the DDSN Diamond Betting Show. We're here for episode number 8. Again, bear with me with my allergies, but I want to thank everyone for tuning back in. Thank you for liking, subscribing to all our new followers and the ones that have been here since the beginning. Let's get into today's slate, but before then, let's kind of recap the weekend. We got off to an incredible start. We were up about 10.2 units. And then, we had a little bit of a little comeback to earth the last 3 days or so, losing about 2 units Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was like 1.5. But it's really not that big of a deal for me because it's just been the props. We've lost 6 props in a row. That's literally been our only reason for dropping those units have been the prop betting. So until somebody actually asks and wants to hear more about the props, I'm just going to put those on the shelf for now because, we've been doing extremely well with our sides. Sides are up 5.5 units. And then our totals, we're kind of fine tuning those. So for the props, I'm going to put those to bed for a little bit. Unless you want something in particular for a certain game, then we'll look into it. But until then, we're going to put the props on the shelf. But let's go ahead and get into today's slate. We have a pretty decent slate for a Monday. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the weather in some of these games. Did have a request for that to bring up the weather. I'm personally not a weather bettor. I tell people, and for myself, I usually do the opposite. If there's a total of 6 at Wrigley, because the wind's blowing in, give me the over, because so many people bet that number down. It's already cooked in. The weather isn't something you're not going to pull one over on the books. That number's already cooked in. So I do not heavily bet. My bets aren't determined on the weather whatsoever, but I do understand, and it is something pretty, it's good to know about weather in baseball because cold weather does play a factor. We've seen that in a couple series already in Minnesota, in St. Louis, that the cold weather, the wind does play a factor in the hitting. So I will bring up a couple games because we do have a couple games today. So I'll do my best. And again, thanks to everyone that's new, that's liking, subscribing, following along, TikTok and YouTube. Let's get into today's games. We're up 3.4 units. Not perfect. But again, I've been betting baseball for at least 15 years, and green days are good. If we drop 1 unit because of some stupid player props, so be it. And if you were betting our games yesterday or any games yesterday, so many games flipped in the 9th inning or later. We had the Astros Athletics game, the Rays Twins game, the Braves Diamondbacks, Cubs Guardians twice. Cubs Guardians, in the early game and the late game, and then Tigers Cardinals late last night. So if you bet baseball, you watch baseball, anything can happen. So with that in mind, let's get into today's games, and then I'll bring up some of our futures along the way. That way we can talk about them because, again, it doesn't look like we're going to have a short, small day for a while. So today will probably be the best day to go in and go over what we have so far. All right, first game of the day. This is an early one, I believe 3 Central Time. Chicago Cubs plus 104. Jameson Taillon on the mound against the Tampa Bay Rays minus 115. Shane McClanahan on the mound. The Rays coming off of an extra innings win thanks to a 2-run home run against the Twins last night. The Rays did decent against the Twins, but they're heading back home for the first time in over 1 year, 2 years, Tropicana Field. I know it's been a while since the hurricane and storms destroyed their stadium, but they'll be back there today early, and this is our first game of the day. I like the Rays here. Rays don't have the biggest crowd, but I feel like just the pride for the players, for the Rays, the organization, this is a great game for them to be showcased in front of their fans for the first time in quite a while. And I did fade Shane McClanahan in his first start in 2 years, and he looked incredible. He looked great. Like he hadn't missed a step. That's great for him, and hopefully he could do it again tonight. I like the Rays at a short price, minus 115. Let's not forget the Cubs did play 2 games yesterday, a doubleheader. Had to travel to Tampa Bay from Cleveland, and now they've got to get up for an early game. So I don't like that either for the Cubs. So I do like Tampa Bay minus 115. All right. Kansas City Royals plus 103. Michael Wacha on the mound against the Cleveland Indians. Guardians minus 113. Tanner Bybee on the mound. Again, you know that I have the Guardians to win the World Series, also to win the division. Any day that we have plus money, we're making some money, I always slide a little extra onto that Indians to win the division. I really love the way that the Guardians are playing right now. Kwan, Ramirez, Chase DeLauter, and I think we'll see Travis Baizana sooner rather than later. But we also have a ticket on him to win Rookie of the Year. I'm hoping he gets brought up pretty soon. But now, because of that pressure, you have Ryan Rocchio playing great at second base and also Arias at shortstop. So, there's really no spot right now for Baizana. I thought if Chase DeLauter got hurt the other day after a hit by pitch, I thought maybe, they'd find a spot for him, but DeLauter was fine. Thankfully, don't want him to get injured. I think it's just up to Rocchio. Can he keep up offensively and with his glove? But for now, we'll be patient and still stash away our Travis Baizana American League Rookie of the Year. I believe like 99-1, 92-1. So I do like the Indians in this game. Minus 113. Tanner Bybee on the mound. Great start to the season against the Dodgers. Again, we're getting great prices with this Guardians-Indians team. What have the Royals done this year to, warrant us backing them? Michael Wacha on the mound. I don't know. I really like what we've been seeing from the Indians. I want it. Minus 113 is a great price for us. Go ahead and book it. Next game, San Diego Padres plus 117 against German Marquez against the Pittsburgh Pirates minus 129. Bubba Chandler on the mound. Again, Pirates 5-game winning streak. We've been riding this Pittsburgh team and they've been cashing for us. We lost. I think the last time we lost was a week ago when we bet against Bubba Chandler. And that was my fault. I didn't know Bubba Chandler was like this crazy hotshot prospect. I honestly didn't know that because he came out of the bullpen last year. So my numbers were kind of skewed. So that's on me. But since that loss, we've won 4 in a row with the Pirates. Let's keep adding on. Pittsburgh minus 129. This offense is actually really hot right now as well. And German Marquez, he's been rough. He was roughed up in his first start. We faded him with the Giants. And again, a great price with Pittsburgh, minus 129. Let's get it. Next game, Cincinnati Reds plus 114 with Brandon Williamson on the mound against the Miami Marlins. Minus 126, Jansen Junk on the mound. The Marlins are, I believe, being 1 at home to begin this season. I think they dropped 1 game to the Rockies. But Marlins are off to a hot start. They avoided the sweep yesterday, got a win over the Yankees 7-6, I believe. And the Marlins, we do still have our Marlins NL East to win the division. We still have that ticket at 22-1. I believe it's all the way down to 10-1. They hold a 1 or half a game lead over the Mets in this one. We got to ride it. We got to ride the hot hand. Even though the Reds are red hot right now, coming off of a sweep in Arlington against the Texas Rangers, Brandon Williamson, he went against Bubba Chandler, like I was talking about last week, and he got roughed up. Is he gonna? Typically he'll bounce back. I imagine he bounces back here, but we gotta ride this Marlins team at home. They're hot. Hopefully a crowd. They have a little bit of some people that show up to the game, but as of right now, at minus 126, I do like the Miami Marlins. All right, next game, St. Louis Cardinals minus 113. Andre Palante on the mound against the Washington Nationals, plus 103. Zach Littell on the mound. Cardinals, did they have a great game last night? Nah, not really. We had the Tigers. But what did the Cardinals do? They took advantage of all of the mistakes by the Tigers. The Tigers kept walking the Cardinals, and the Cardinals just dink, 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 dink and dunk. Dink and dunk their way to 5 runs, winning the game, I believe 5-3, something along that. So with this Washington Nationals team, I don't think they're getting enough credit. I don't think the Nationals are getting enough credit because their offense, they kind of found an offense, and they found it against the Dodgers, which is kind of bad timing because that was the exact same time the Dodgers kind of found their offense. So they were in a shootout for 3 games in a row against the LA Dodgers, but now they're playing a offense of the Cardinals that's, not nearly as powerful. So I think even though I don't like either one of these pitchers, Palante, we faded him last week. He proved us wrong. He actually had a really great game. But this Nationals offense, that's who I want to back right now. In a plus money position, yes, it's small, but I think this, like I said, I think this Nationals offense kind of found something. It just so happened to be against the Dodgers, who also found their offense. Give me the Nationals plus 103. Next game, the Milwaukee Brewers minus 112. Brandon Woodruff on the mound against the Boston Bad News Bears plus 102. Brian Bayo on the mound. Give me the Brewers. I don't care if the Red Sox win by 30 runs. Give me the Brewers. And that's not homerism, because what did we do the last 2 days? We bet on the Red Sox at big moneyline favorites, and all they did was continue to choke. Crazy comebacks. They had the lead, then they blew it. Anything that can go wrong is going wrong for this Boston Red Sox team. And Brewers are actually on the opposite trajectory. They're going up. They're playing great. They just finished dominating the Royals in Kansas City. We're getting such a cheap price with the Brewers. Again, if the Red Sox win by 10 runs, I'm happy with that. You know, we'll chalk it up. We lost. All right, we lost. Fine. But the Brewers at minus 112, even though they're on the road, and I think this game's supposed to be really cold. Yeah, probably like 48 to 43 degrees in this game. That doesn't, to me, that doesn't spell a great offensive night for the Red Sox. They can't even hit in the beautiful sunny weather. And now in that Padres series, it was pretty cold. But tonight, it's going to be cold. I believe the other weather I forgot to mention was the Kansas City-Cleveland game, where that wind's kind of blowing in, and it's going to be 45, 41 degrees. Again, I don't bet totals solely based off of the weather, so that's just not something you're going to see from me. But if you watch those Cubs-Indians games, they both, I believe, went under the total. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the Royals-Guardians go under the total as well. Let me check really quick what the total is. It's 7. So that's just something that I'm not going to bet on, a 7, just based off of it being cold. It's just way too dangerous. No, thank you. Anyway, off track. Brewers minus 112. Red Sox do not deserve our money or respect at this time. LA Dodgers minus 141. Justin Robleski on the mound against the Toronto Blue Jays. Plus 128, Max Scherzer on the mound. Robleski, he's kind of an opener. He's a reliever, and he's kind of gotten roughed up in his last few starts and games. So that's not his best role as an opener, and that's not a great position for him to be on. The Blue Jays have lost 4 games in a row, if not more. Yeah, they lost to the Rockies, and they got swept by the White Sox. So yeah, 4-game losing streak, but now they get a revenge game against the Dodgers. You know, I think if the Blue Jays are going to win a game, it's going to be this one. You got Scherzer on the mound, going to be a psychopath. Actually had a really great start in his first of the season. So I don't hate taking the Blue Jays here, plus 128. They're at home, back from Chicago. So I think this is a good time to buy low on the Blue Jays and kind of sell Robleski being the opener. That just doesn't really work out for the Dodgers. So I think it's a great time to take a chance with the Blue Jays. Plus 128. Next game, Baltimore Orioles minus 137. I believe it's Cade Povich that's going to be on the mound for Baltimore. I don't think it's official, but that looks like who the probable is. Against the Chicago White Sox, plus 124 opener. Grant Taylor going to be on the mound. White Sox, like I said, swept the Blue Jays. White Sox are kind of hot right now. Let's see how the weather's supposed to be in Chicago. Wind's going to be blowing out around 45, 43 degrees, so it's going to be a cold game. This bodes well for the White Sox. We're going to keep riding this White Sox team. They love throwing Grant Taylor out there as an opener. The pitchers behind him have been doing great. His first 2 openers starts of the season, whatever, however you want to call that. Let's ride this White Sox team while we can. Plus 124, I like it. Give me the Chicago White Sox plus 124. Next game, the Detroit Tigers plus 107. Casey Mize on the mound against the Minnesota Twins. Twins minus 118 with Joe Ryan on the mound. Again, Joe Ryan, I understand the respect for him. He had a great season last year, but we did fade him in his first start of the season with I believe they played the Royals, and it worked out perfectly. I believe he's also overvalued here against the Tigers. Tigers had a shitty offensive day yesterday, but I think they can bounce back. Again, Joe Ryan, this Twins offense plus, Joe Ryan being a little overinflated, I don't think the Twins should be favored at home, and I think this is another cold game. Even colder, 37 degrees, and the wind looks like it's going to be blowing out. Yeah, just no thank you here with the Twins. I like the Tigers here. Tigers to bounce back and get a win after last night's poor showing. Give me Detroit plus 107. Seattle Mariners plus 101. Logan Gilbert on the mound against the Texas Rangers minus 113. Jacob DeGrom on the mound. We faded Logan Gilbert in his first start of the season. It worked out, and we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again, and we're going to back this Rangers team, even though they're coming off a sweep, or being swept, rather, against the Cincinnati Reds at home. DeGrom has pitched well against the Mariners at home, and he did have a pretty great start against the Orioles to begin the season, but I think they pitched him maybe 2 batters, 1 inning too long, so he ended up getting roughed up. But the numbers are a little deceiving. He pitched a much better game than what the numbers show. This Mariners offense, they did put up some runs finally yesterday against the Angels, but they still lost. And I'm just not, I'm not a Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh's a little cold. Julio Rodriguez is cold, but he's kind of turning it around, or has been lately. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Rangers can bounce back here. We're not getting plus money, but again, I prefer having Jacob DeGrom over Logan Gilbert in this matchup. I think it's a match. Like, the Rangers just didn't match up against the Reds. Reds threw their best 3 pitchers and they dominated the Rangers, which was expected. We had the Reds in game 1, game 2, and then we just went straight under because I thought the Rangers would win yesterday, but Jack Leiter didn't get any run support against Chase Burns. Not surprising. We cashed the under and we cashed the first 5 under. Totally fine with that. But I think the Rangers wake up a little bit today and they get a win. They snap the losing streak against the Mariners. Give me the Rangers minus 111. Next game, Astros minus 165. Cody Bolton on the mound against the Colorado Rockies. Rockies plus 149. Ryan Feltner on the mound. This one's kind of a weird game. The Rockies have been at home, but they haven't been scoring a lot of runs. They haven't been scoring a lot of runs. They haven't been scoring a lot of runs at home or away. And the wind's also supposed to be blowing into Coors Field today. It's supposed to be 66, 59 degrees, but the wind will be blowing in towards the batters. It's hard betting Rockies games at home, under. And it's also hard betting the Astros games under because this offense right now is humming. I think they scored 9 plus runs in all 3 games against Oakland, Sacramento this past weekend. So I did have a feeling that this could go under with all the runs that the Astros put up this past weekend. Maybe they, slow down a little bit. But again, the Rockies, do we really want to bet that they stay under once again? I think it can, but it's difficult. And if the wind's really blowing in, then that'll definitely help our case. And Feltner was good. Feltner was good in his first start. We had him against the Blue Jays, but he got injured and kind of came out of the game. What was that, the 4th, maybe 5th inning? And then all hell broke loose from there for the Rockies. But I was leaning under 10.5, and I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I'm going to trust myself because this was, my gut feeling and I wrote it down. So we're going to stick with it. Under 10.5 runs, minus 108. Atlanta Braves minus 165. Chris Sale on the mound against the Los Angeles Angels plus 149. Jose Soriano on the mound. Both of these pitchers looked excellent in their debuts this year. Just dominant stuff. Chris Sale and Soriano dominated. Soriano dominated the Cubs, and I do think they can do it again. And that's kind of how it is when both of these pitchers match up against one another. So I do like the first 5 under 4 minus 123, and game under 7.5 minus 102. I believe. Let's check the weather here. Oh, looks like it looks like the wind's blowing out of Angels Stadium, but again, let's see here, humidity 59. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. Again, I'm not going to, I think we should be fine. I think we'll be fine. I'm going to stick with our unders here. Let's get a pitching duel and get out of this 2-3 or something, just not in the first 5. All right. Next game and the last game of the night, Phillies minus 115 with Andrew Painter against the San Francisco Giants, plus 104. Adrian Hauser on the mound. This Giants team, we backed them one too many times against the Mets. They got, swept by the Mets. And I think the Giants do have some potential, but, sometimes the hitters show up and sometimes they don't. And against the Mets, they didn't show up. And that could be a problem. Also, it was a game last night where they could have won yesterday. They kind of killed their own momentum, and then Vitello gets thrown out of the game. Just not a good look all the way around for the Giants right now. Andrew Painter, phenom, top prospect for the Phillies, looked incredible in his first start. And in his first start, he was at home, and he was a minus 164 favorite, somewhere in that neighborhood. And now he's minus 115. So we're getting a discount. Even though he's on the road, he's not going up against an incredibly powerful offense that would warrant him and warrant that big of a change. So, Philly's offense has kind of found itself. They lost last night, but that was fine. We had the Rockies. But I like the Phillies here, minus 115. Let's take it with the phenom. Let's run down our games really, really quick. We got the Rays, minus 115. We've got the Indians, minus 113. Pirates, minus 129. We've got the Marlins, minus 126. Nationals plus 123. We've got the Brewers minus 112. The Blue Jays plus 128. White Sox plus 124. Tigers plus 107. Rangers minus 111. Under 10.5 in the Astros Rockies game. Braves Angels first 5 under 4 minus 123. Under 7.5 minus 102. And Phillies minus 115. Once again, thank you for everyone for watching, liking, subscribing. We do appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thanks to all the new viewers and subscribers. I appreciate all of that. Bear with my allergies here and my setting and the lighting. It's not the best, but I should be back in my office area tomorrow for tomorrow's games. But again, appreciate everyone. I apologize for the allergies. Green is good. Let's go have a winning Monday, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.